Wireless innovation starts with a great idea. Like a robot that lets doctors monitor patients from across the country. A connected car that provides an unprecedented experience in your vehicle and on the road. Or an intelligent vending machine that can actually communicate. But how do you transform your great ideas into reality? The Verizon Innovation Program helps you turn your wireless innovation into a winning business. We support our program participants every step of the way. From startups to industry leaders, healthcare to entertainment and beyond. We start by helping innovators tap the power of wireless technologies. In our state-of-the-art labs in San Francisco and Boston, our specialized experts work side by side with you to integrate 4G LTE connectivity in your device or application. Our labs bring you the latest development networks and controls, advanced tools, and RF shielding, all in an exceptional collaborative workspace. But wireless connectivity is just the beginning. Our experts provide market-wise advice to help fine-tune your product and your business plan. You benefit from our extensive technology and business resources, and we connect you to our many partners who are ready to add their technology, knowledge, and value. We're already helping a wide range of program participants bring exciting new wireless devices and applications to the marketplace. How about yours? If you're ready to innovate, Verizon is ready to help you. The Verizon Innovation Program. We empower innovators.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Praveen Atreya. I'm from Verizon. Thank you very much for the introduction, the kind words. I wanted to start off with what I call the why to why not transition slide, right? And specific to LTE, if you ask a developer, either a consumer OEM or even more specifically a non-traditional device maker, if you ask a producer, essentially, in 2010, if you had asked them, what do you think about LTE? They would have told you probably these three things. They would have told you it's all about speed, doesn't apply in every situation. If you need to transmit high-definition video on the uplink, yeah, 4G LTE is the way to go, but not really required. You would also hear about component choices, right, or the lack of them, and how expensive they were. And then you would obviously hear about limited applicability. It's not ubiquitous. It's not there yet. Now, fast forward to today, 2012, 2 short years. The perception has changed. And I personally have the privilege to witness this as it happens. Working in the Verizon Innovation Program with hundreds of developers, not just software application developers, but M2M product developers, consumer OEMs, chipset and module makers, cloud component providers, et cetera, I can see this transition from why do we need LTE to why not use LTE for that, right? The why to why not transition. And I've just summarized a few of the what I call headliner attributes that people perceive 4G LTE to have today. And when I say people, I again mean the producers, right? The consumers are obviously going to follow. So first and foremost, the overwhelming majority of products that we're working on, in addition to, of course, the consumer smartphones, tablets, jetpacks, and USB devices, are actually not mobile. They're stationary products. They're kiosks, they're ATMs, they're all sorts of devices that use broadband but don't move. So the classic or the fundamental attribute that these products are looking for from 4G LTE is simplicity. I just need power, and I want to forget about connectivity. Or I want to bring my own broadband. Bring your own broadband, a different kind of BYOB. All right? In addition, and I'll give you a couple of examples, right? When you talk to developers today about longevity, that's a key attribute in favor of 4G LTE. If you're developing a product today, you want to have it on the technology that's going to be around the longest. And there's a lot of developers who are facing the 2G transition, for example, that will know exactly what I'm talking about. So 4G LTE is a clear choice of longevity. If I were to build a smart meter, a connected smart meter today, I would do it on 4G LTE because I know that technology is going to be around. And more importantly, I know I have unconstrained feature upsell, right? I can start off with telemetry. I can add video as another sensor. And I can branch out into home services. The home services guys can branch into home security. It's easy to add features because you don't have a pipe constraining it. You're future-proof, short way of saying that. Again, from a deployment standpoint, especially true in the United States, there's a significant rollout already. So universal applicability is no longer a concern. So really, it's giving developers, in short, the untethered freedom that they're looking for to bring their application to life. So I could just sum this up by saying that we've maintained this all along, but 4G LTE is proving to be a robust platform that really accelerates innovation, that really makes ideas more actionable, more real, come to market faster, remove the constraints in the past that had been making these ideas unrealizable. All right, so now that we've addressed the fact that 4G LTE has evolved in perception and is really that next-gen platform that lets folks innovate, the second thing I want to talk about is where are the opportunities? Yes, there's opportunity in consumer, but that opportunity in consumer does not have to be what exists today. So non-traditional could be consumer as well. There's several non-traditional applications of cellular, wireless, and consumer that are taking hold. But in addition, right, we look at the wireless marketplace, and an analyst will tell you, hey, you're at 90% plus penetration. Don't you guys see that as a sign of saturation? Not really. We see it as a sign of underachievement. The goal's not 100%. The goal is 500% or more. And why? It's because of the immense non-traditional applicability of a plug-and-play technology like 4G LTE. Here are some real examples that we've brought to market just in the Verizon Innovation Program. Just a few key select examples that tell you whether you're in healthcare, looking to make life easier for chronics with telehealth solutions, or virtual visitations with physicians. Whether you're in media, seeking to replace microwave trucks, or a small fraction thereof, with easy-to-mobilize LTE-enabled broadcast quality equipment. Whether you're in retail, seeking to change point of sale and customer care at the point of sale. Whether you're in public safety, right? So the list is really endless, if I may. Right? You have applications in utility and energy, education, general enterprise. It's, again, a few of the examples you can see right here, but that's a very short list of what's possible. And people have, M2M really has a classification of being the stepchild that's typically low ARPU, the other device type category. But these devices, this is really a new class of devices that are not really low ARPU. They're pretty data hungry. All right? And they span consumer as well as enterprise. So now that we've talked about the ideal platform for innovation, where the opportunity exists, I wanted to go over some of the needs, right? So why aren't developers of these neat products and solutions essentially developing hundreds and thousands of them on a daily basis? What's blocking them, right? So if I were a connected device developer, this is what I typically get from the marketplace, right? So there's obviously a delta between what I need and what I get from the marketplace. So too often, these innovative products and solutions, and I'm talking more of the M2M kind, they're viewed from a fundamentally connectivity-based lens. So you, device developer, have access to these services. Again, not all in one location. There are, in some watered-down form, no easy access to any of them, but you can get them in the marketplace today. You could go out there, get a module or a chipset, and if your partner, module or chipset partner, is kind enough, you could work on the software, hardware, RF enablement. You could do some minimal performance validation, and you could get certification support. So you could get your product to market, right? But is that what you need? You need a lot more. You need a lot more than this for your product to be successful, particularly in the bookends of the process. The moral of the story here, guys, is that connected device developers need more than connectivity, right? You're not connecting widget X for the heck of it. You're doing it to solve a business need of optimization or automation, a consumer need for a new feature. But it's not just the connectivity that we should be focusing on. And so what developers need is more of the entry-level incubation and rapid prototyping that helps them rapidly assess whether there is fundamental value, what the competitive environment is, and if there is value to proceed, right? A fast fail or continue sort of model. There is also significant attention that needs to be provided to product development. And what I mean by this is, again, you can connect a device, but you need to ensure that the device is optimized to take advantage of that connectivity, right? Whether it's a screen, whether it's a processor, other attributes. So again, just taking an unconnected device and adding connectivity to it is not really as simple as that. You have to fundamentally change the product to take advantage of that connectivity and potentially be future-proof. And more importantly, right, if I was a developer that, I'll give you an example. I just wanted to do remote temperature sensing, right? I want to have XYZ devices in several remote locations, have a temperature sensor, communicate that information to a central data center, if you will, and take some action if those readings were above or beyond a certain threshold. I need more than a connected device, right? I need a cloud platform. I need a platform as a service, an application service platform that sits on that cloud, that takes this information, ingests it, records it, and has a rules engine that generates alerts based on whether or not it's above or beyond a certain threshold. And this is something today that's left for the developer ecosystem to figure out on their own, right? So providers will tell you, yes, I'll give you connectivity, and I'll make it incredibly hard for you to get certified. Yes, my network is open. But in spite of all of these good things, there are these bookends that developers need to be supported more in, right? Right at the beginning of the process, incubating the idea, rapid prototyping, and right at the very end, turnkey solution enablement. And some of that solution enablement is more than technology. It's pricing innovation. Are people going to buy this if it's got a monthly tag associated with it? Business model innovation. Are people going to buy this where they buy their consumer products? No. Right? So it's bringing all of these things together to the developer ecosystem in one location. That's the need. And now let's talk about the solution, right? If I were to provide developers a frictionless engagement mechanism, and what I mean by that is a way to engage without intellectual property risk, without significant upfront cost, in a shared risk environment, that would be extremely lucrative for developers and in turn then for operators and for the ecosystem as a whole. So again, providers need to give access to more than just their networks. It's important to open up the network for these non-traditional products and solutions. That's very important. That has been done. But even more important is to open up the network or open up the expertise to let these products on-ramp quicker onto the network. Right? Who better to build a product to interoperate with a cellular network than the folks that build the network? So, and again, this would prevent some of the disadvantages. Cellular integration is still fairly an occult science for folks that are very familiar with this, right? So this would take out some of those barriers to cellular integration and really help products jump on board and get out to consumers and enterprises faster than they are today. More importantly than this frictionless engagement and the open access to expertise for the outside world is ecosystem partnerships as well. You know, we're not going to be able to answer all questions, fulfill all needs on our own. We got to make sure that we have a large and active ecosystem of players in diverse areas, whether it's component, whether it's service, just ready to sort of work with developers in case they need something as simple as a low real estate embedded antenna or a rapidly integrable application service platform. So in addition to that ecosystem, you need labs, right? You need people to test their product in a lab environment, in a Noah's Ark of production before they get on production. And finally, you need go-to-market innovation, right? I think this is an area where there is a significant need for developers. You have to ensure that they have different ways to reach their market. You can't just tell them, listen, I'll help you build your product, certify it, and then you're on your own. Right? Whether it's pricing, whether it's innovation in pricing, whether it's innovation in business models, whether it's looking at other paths to market, indirect and otherwise, channel-based, these are important. And this is something that with the scale that a provider brings to the table, these are things that again, could be with the industry ecosystem that's represented here, should be made possible. All right, so again, in short, there's need for people, resources, there's need for technology, and tool support for developers to get them on board rapidly. And allow me to do some product placement here. But really, this is one of the things we do at the innovation program. The Verizon Innovation Program that has been in existence for the better part of 3 years has been rolling out non-traditional and traditional products over LTE, and these are some of the fundamental attributes that we have built the center to meet. Again, I mean, right front and center, there's no fees for engagement, there's no IP claim, you retain your IP as a developer, and no exclusivity, no chains of exclusivity. So really, I mean, it is a smoother on-ramp of the product to market. And what you get access to, if you're selected, is really access to a commercial network sandbox, unprecedented access to analytics and tools intelligence, as well as people. The folks that are the hardware, software, RF engineers that are available to you at your disposal as an extension of your own R&D. There is access to non-traditional marketing and go-to-market paths through the rest of the organization. And finally, we have the wherewithal, and we have been able to do this. We have been able to enable with cloud and solution all of these connected devices. So it's really more than connected devices that the developers are looking for. They're looking for solutions, and all of the piece parts that are needed to make that happen are available in the innovation program. All right, and again, the last thing that I do want to mention is, here's the overall vision, right? This is not a carrier-centric vision. This is not a Verizon-centric vision. But this, from an industry perspective, from the folks that are in this room, is something that needs to be recognized. We've talked about how we have been able to achieve a 10x capability improvement with 4G LTE that really opens the door for all sorts of innovation. And we've talked about how folks need to be open to bring all of that to market. But at the end of the day, the need is this, right? The need is to bring together all of these assets, all of these high-quality assets, whether it be broadband, mobility, global platforms, application service enablement, managed solutions, and most importantly, end-to-end experiences that are differentiated both for the consumer and enterprise. The need is to bring them all together in order to leverage long-term growth. Right? This is what's needed for the industry as a whole. If we are to realize our goals of being more than just the 100%, going into the 500% connectivity realm, the 5:1 realm. This is something that we need to absolutely accomplish, is to bring all of these assets together, and not just bring them together, provide the system integrator glue, and all of it in one place, in a frictionless mechanism that lets people engage, that lets the producers of these products and solutions engage without fear, without, in a shared risk format, without, IP issues, concerns, and so on. If we're able to do this, right, and this is what we're doing every day in the Verizon Innovation Program, if as an industry as a whole, we're able to do this successfully, bring all of these together, bring the glue together for people to essentially just easily bring their ideas to market, this would help us, this would help consumers and make them, help them enrich their lives. This would help businesses optimize and automate in unprecedented ways, like never before. And more importantly, this would bring us to the middle of a communications-enabled industrial revolution 2.0. Thank you very much.
Can you stay right there? So this is terrific. It's clear that it's way more than a network that brings about the 4G world. How do the automotive companies participate in this ecosystem you're talking about?
Oh, the way to engage is very easy. We talked about frictionless engagement, and thank you once again for sort of bringing the more than network message to the fore, right? I mean, I know we're talking about, it's a very telecommunication-centric setup, but if what should be clear from what I've said is that it's more than connectivity that's needed, right? And from an automotive standpoint, if you want to engage, there's multiple ways. You can just reach out to me. There's ways online. We have a web page. The Verizon Innovation Program has a web page, innovation.verizon.com. There's multiple forums that we typically have our business development teams attend. And more importantly, we, in several cases, do the outreach. So it's not just we waiting for, hey, I'm awesome, why don't you come to me and I'll help you bring your product to market. We'll actually go out to you and look out for some of these opportunities. So we're really not that full of ourselves.
We do have a minute for a question. Go ahead.
Sure.
Come on up to the mic.
Yep. My name is Rod Davis. I'm from iPhotonics in Dallas.
How are you?
Wonderful presentation. It's a good opportunity for people to get in there. That brings my question is, what is the criteria for somebody to work with the Innovation Lab, one thing? And as you mentioned, and your whole presentation kind of indicated, like, there's a lot of pieces to this. I'm interested in the FMC, fixed mobile convergence, where I have broadband. How does the Innovation Lab help me work with other vendors that I'm trying to bring this together?
No, absolutely. So, so there were two questions, right? I mean, so from an FMC perspective, you guys are all very familiar with small cells, and I'm sure a lot of folks in this conference will talk about it. FMC is something, so there's several FMC-based products that we're working on in the Innovation Center. So, so it's something that we can contribute to further. The first part of your question, right? Can you just repeat the first part? So good question. So the criteria so we work with product developers at various stages, right? We work with a lot of start from scratch folks, where we actually have a concept and we build the idea from scratch. We work with a lot of folks that are, I would call them the last 25%, which is you have an unconnected product, you have an awesome camera, and you just need to add connectivity and then revamp the product and the web interface around that connectivity. And then there is the spectrum in between. So from a criteria standpoint, the goal is to unlock new product categories. If you as a developer are unlocking a new product or device category, solving a new different need, we will work with you. We're more likely to work with you than if you are the 25th router sort of vanilla gateway maker, right? So again, I mean, our charter, because we have limited resources, is to unlock new categories of products, is to basically bring cellular wireless in general and LTE in specific to as many areas like the ones that we listed, right? So differentiation in your vertical, as well as having a vertical that's unexplored hitherto, where bringing this product in would then pave the way for many products of that time of that type to exist, and spring up is something that would be the two primary criteria. Does that help? Yeah.
I notice we have a queue here of questions, so hopefully shorter answers, quick questions.
Real quick question.
Yes or no?
As far as the MCX, if you're familiar with that, the retail industry announced that about 2 or 3 months ago, that they're going to go into more or less a digital wallet concept. Are you working at all with any of the large retailers, since that's such a huge initiative that would seem that's something that Verizon should be a part of? And just wondered if you're anywhere active in the MCX development.
No, absolutely. So we are working, to answer your question, yes, we are working with a lot of the retailers. Mobile wallet's very important to us, and more than mobile wallet, it is to provide an experience that's a closed loop from engagement to completion, where the mobile wallet plays a role. And I'll be happy to share more details of it offline, but absolutely, it's a very, very key area for us. Go ahead.
Thomas Rumbold, a little bit of a provocation.
Yep.
You said that you wanted to be the center of a communication-oriented revolution.
Yep.
There are two models. One is a pure intelligent pipe, but just a pipe business as a utility. And the other one, what you described. I assume Verizon had made an intense business analysis. Why to go your way? Could you highlight the 4 or 5 most important points?
Sure. So, by the way, what you described, right, is how I would describe to, again, my wife. No offense to her, she's not here. As eating out or eating home. I don't have to necessarily choose one and be deprived of the other. Okay, so it's really not a black or white choice between being a dumb pipe and being an intelligent pipe. I think the way I'd put it is giving developers the building blocks, right? And they might choose some, they might bring their own blocks to the table. So a lot of the folks that I showed you in the picture, all they want is 4G LTE connectivity, the expertise to embed, and they will bring their solution to the table. We work with them too. There are others, and this is the point, there are several other folks with great ideas that don't have the wherewithal on the solution side, and that's resulting in some of these ideas not getting to market or getting to market suboptimally in a way where it sort of, it then makes the product look bad and then makes the applicability of cellular in that product look bad for the near future. Does that make sense? So it's really, I'm totally open to get to having folks, the non-traditional product makers use us as a dumb pipe. I mean, we help them do that here in the innovation centers. In addition, though, if they want some of the smarts, it's optional. It's totally optional to them. It's available to them. And in several cases, as we have seen over the last 3 years, it's useful to them.
Okay.
Personally, my wife would prefer if we eat out. I don't know about you, but that's how she talks to me about it. She'd rather if we eat out. We do have time for one last question.
So Praveen, there's an arms race with 4G, right? Everybody claims to have a 4G story or a future for 4G. So why would one choose to go with Verizon 4G versus the others out there in the market?
Yeah, so first of all, right, I mean, going to 4G is so let's talk about this. I mean, I have a whole sort of package, a binder of why Verizon's the way to go for 4G LTE, and some of the ads do a much better job than I would ever. But if we as an industry, we have coalesced around 4G LTE, and if we can coalesce around making this the ideal platform to build around for non-traditional products and solutions, then all boats will rise. Right? That's our belief. We do also believe that our network differentiates itself, the foundation, the core, differentiates itself in several ways, right? I mean, in all humility, I think we have the best network, right? But having said that, the story is more about bringing. We've seen a lot of developers go to non-cellular access technologies and seen the products suffer, and then sort of seen them make the leap to say that, I don't think this makes sense. We shouldn't do this, right? Whereas if they had been enabled to easily integrate cellular and add some of the other solution enablement pieces that I talked about, the product would have been successful. It would have changed the perception of connectivity in that industry. So that's what we're trying to do here. Right? We're trying to be that intersectional capability that changes, whether it's for automation or for efficiency or new features for different verticals or different industries. All right?
Fantastic, Praveen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.